All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to a place you might have heard of, but maybe not really.
Oh, yeah.
Albania.
Albania.
We got this document. It's just called albania.pdf.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, just straight to the point.
Yeah.
But it's actually got some really fascinating stuff in here.
It's amazing how much you can pack into one little PDF.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's start with like the basics.
Yeah.
Where is this place?
Okay, so geographically, we're talking southeastern Europe, so like right in the heart of the Balkans. And you know what? They've got coastline on both the Adriatic and the Ionian Seas.
Whoa, wait a minute. So they've got like beaches and mountains and all that.
All that, yeah. And, that kind of geography, having access to the sea, like it's always been a big deal historically, like controlling the Adriatic, getting into the Mediterranean, that was huge. And even today, Albania is part of NATO, so their location is still really important for regional politics.
Wow. It's like a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered or something.
Right.
Okay, so the document mentions that Albania declared independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1912. Like, not that long ago, really.
Nope, just a few years before World War I kicks off. So, yeah, you can bet there's some serious history there.
Oh, yeah. I bet centuries of Ottoman rule.
Yeah.
Then independence, then boom, World War I.
Exactly. And don't forget, even before the Ottomans, you had the Greeks and the Romans and the Byzantines all leaving their mark on the region, just layer upon layer of history.
It's crazy how all these empires just kind of like collided in this one little spot.
That's the Balkans for you.
So we've got this beautiful coastline, we've got layers of history, but then there's this other thing that caught my eye in the document, the bunkers.
Oh, yeah, the bunker.
Apparently they're like everywhere, thousands of these little concrete things just scattered across the landscape like leftover mushrooms or something.
It's funny you say that because they do kind of look like mushrooms. They're these small concrete domes, and they were built during the communist era under Enver Hoxha.
Enver Hoxha.
Yeah, he was the leader back then, ruled with an iron fist for decades, kind of isolated the country from the rest of the world, and he had this almost like this paranoia about being invaded.
Oh, wow. So these bunkers were like his way of protecting the country.
Yeah, he wanted to turn Albania into like a fortress state. He called it capable of defending itself against anyone.
A fortress state made of concrete mushrooms.
Well, it sounds a little strange, but when you think about the geopolitical situation back then, the Cold War and all that, it kind of makes sense in a twisted way.
Yeah, I guess so. It's still kind of a sad story though, right? Like a whole country living in fear like that.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, many of those bunkers are still standing today, like silent reminders of that time. Some have been turned into cafes or museums, but a lot of them are just there abandoned, kind of haunting.
Wow. So we've talked about the history a bit, the geography, but what about Albania today? Like, what's it like to visit?
Well, the document mentions a surge in tourism recently, and for good reason. The place is beautiful. I mean, you've got the Albanian Riviera, the stunning coastline with crystal clear water, and then there's Berat, a UNESCO World Heritage City with these amazing Ottoman-era houses built right into the hillside.
That sounds incredible. And the document mentions these dishes. Tavikosi and bayrek. Am I saying that right? Bayrek.
Yeah, you got it, bayrek.
Bayrek. Okay, I've got to try that. What is it exactly?
So tavikosi is like this baked lamb dish with yogurt. It's super creamy and delicious. And then bayrek is a savory pastry. You can get it filled with all sorts of things. Cheese, spinach meat. It's like a little pocket of heaven.
My mouth is watering just thinking about it. It seems like Albania has this amazing blend of cultures, the Mediterranean, the Balkans. It's all coming together in this one place.
Absolutely. You see it in the architecture, the food, the music, even the hospitality. The people are known for being incredibly welcoming and hospitable.
I've heard that too, that Albanian hospitality is like legendary.
Yeah, it's deeply rooted in their culture, this respect for guests. I mean, when you think about their history, all those different empires passing through, it kind of makes sense that they'd learn to welcome people from all walks of life.
It's like they took the best parts of all those cultures and blended them into something unique.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, the history, the geography, the food, the culture. But what do you think is like the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that Albania is a country full of surprises. It's a place that defies easy categorization. It's got this mix of beauty and hardship, isolation and connection to the wider world, and I think that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. And for those of you listening, I want to leave you with a question to think about. We talked about Albania's isolation under Enver Hoxha and those bunkers.
Yeah.
How do you think that legacy of isolation might be affecting Albania today as it tries to integrate with Europe and the rest of the world?
That's a great question, something to ponder for sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into Albania. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.